Welcome to this episode of Your Property Business, the video podcasts that help you get the most out of your own property business. I'm just going to bring us back a little bit towards the sort of more nuts and bolts of it. But in terms of why do you think now might be a good time to contemplate development? There's so much going on in the lettings world, landlord market, economy, et cetera, et cetera. Is now a better or worse time, or is just as good as any?
Well, okay, picking up your last comment, it's almost as good as any. It is actually slightly better, and I'll tell you for why in a minute. But one thing about development, because we are generating big lumps of cash, it is life-changing. And so is now a good time? Let's just reverse that back to not the marketplace, but to people personally. Is it a good time for you personally? Is this a time in your life when you need to put your money in your pension pot? And maybe you're getting to that 50-year-old, or you're on the other side of 50. Maybe you're at 60. You're thinking, hey, hang on a minute, I've got a pension pot. So is now a good time, or an essential time, perhaps in your life, whoever you might be out there listening to this, to start earning six-figure sums of money? Maybe. Okay. And development is always good. Development always works. The reason it generally always works is the marketplace, demands more housing. We fall way short of our housing requirements in this country. And so there's always a requirement for more housing. Equally, right at the moment, the government are actually supporting developers with the way that they can short circuit the planning system. A lot of people would have heard permitted development rights, but they've provided us, to us by the government to help us be successful in development, particularly small scale development. And so the government are encouraging us. The marketplace is there. And there's an expression which I suspect a lot of people would have heard if they're dipping their toe in property in some way. And that is, you make your money when you buy. You make your money when you buy. And at the moment, what I talked about development is about repurposement. What I try and focus most people on, I actually train people to be developers. So I've got developers doing new build. I've got developers doing refurbishment. Most people I would focus towards refurbishment for their first project because there's less risk, and we have these permitted development rights. We don't have to go in the planning system. And when we're repurposing buildings that are generally defunct, they're empty. And if we think about the marketplace in commerce out there in terms of shops and banks and offices, there's so many of those buildings empty. Do you think those current vendors with no tenants are motivated to sell? Because they're unlikely. I walked down High Street in a local town to me. My wife and I popped out literally a few weeks back, Chris, to pick something up. And there was about 12 shops in a row, which was just changing the whole atmosphere in that High Street, which was a real shame, all empty.
It's a real shame.
And I said to my wife, is anyone going to be rocking up soon looking to rent those properties? No. So if you're a landlord, a vendor with one of those properties, you're going to be keen to sell. And what we all want is motivated sellers. So right now, we have a huge amount of motivated sellers. And the more bad news we get, the better from a developer's point of view, because that means those sellers are even more motivated. 2008, the real big recession that we had, a lot of developers made a lot of money because they made their money when they bought well. So a combination of, is this right for you? Is this a time that you need to change your life and start earning those six-figure sums? 2 or 3 years from now, what would the world be like if you started earning that? Is that a nice to have, or is it an absolute essential? Secondly, the demand is there for housing. Is the HMO market saturated? In some areas it is, some it isn't. But certainly the demand for housing is generally not saturated. It's falling way behind. And the disruption in the marketplace, in the marketplace of commerce and those buildings that are available, means you're going to get motivated sellers, and you make your money when you buy.
No, fantastic answer. I think what sparked my interest there wasn't, flip on its head, it wasn't the economy, it wasn't the situation, it was, is it right for you now? So are you in the right space? And I think that was, you can't time the market. I think that's a really risky thing to do. And I think I hear landlords and would-be investors thinking it's now a good time to buy. And the best time to buy, Chinese proverb, was 20 years ago, obviously. The next best time to buy is now. So timing the market's a risky strategy. Is it right for you now? I think that's a much better question. So thanks for explaining that.